Bonsoir Paris, il est 18 heures. Good morning Los Angeles, it's 9 a.m. here in California. My name is Matt. Welcome to episode number 6 of Spotlight. Spotlight is the weekly live show we do at the Paris Art and Movie Awards to promote filmmakers and to share experiences and hopefully get some tips and some value so you guys can try the same success stories and the same ingredients and try if it works for you for your festival strategy, for submitting films on festivals, and for growing your audience and reach an audience for your films. As you know, the Paris Art and Movie Awards celebrated 10 years in 2020. And about 4 years ago, we created the Hollywood Art and Movie Awards, which is our winter festival, because basically everybody in Paris wanted to go to Los Angeles and every filmmaker in Los Angeles wanted to go to Paris. So we had the festival in Paris and we created the festival in Los Angeles to really create a connection, a bridge in between the two cities so the filmmakers could have a safe space and a team and a network they know it, they've been involved with to go from one place to one another. And I'm saying this because the guest we have today for the first time on Spotlight is a filmmaker who submitted to the Winter Festival, the Hollywood Art and Movie Awards. And that's going to be the first time we have on the PAMA show somebody from the Hollywood Festival. This is Spotlight. Welcome. Dignity is her second short film. She submitted to the Hollywood Art and Movie Awards, just like I said. This festival is going to be from the 21st to the 23rd of January this week. It's on Zerd and tickets are on sale right now. I'm welcoming right now Alayna Jennings. Alayna, good morning. How are you?
Good morning. I'm doing well. How are you?
I'm very happy to talk with you again. And now this time we're going to have more time just to talk about your film because you are selected as Best Director and Best Dance Film at the Hollywood Art and Movie Awards. We've been having you for 2 different panels already for this festival. But this time, this is going to be, we say in French, jamais deux sans trois. How do you translate? It's like when you do 2, you're gonna have a third one in English. I don't know if you translate well, but now we're gonna talk just about your film Dignity and you. So for the people of the network of the Paris Art and Movie Awards, can you tell us a little bit what's your background? I know you were born in Salt Lake City. How did you end up in Los Angeles, and what's your story as a filmmaker?
So yes, I am from Salt Lake City, Utah. I moved out to LA a little over 7 years ago. And I moved out to LA as a dancer. I had joined a dance company and I'd gotten an agent and I was really excited to begin my dance career. And I did that for a few years and I became immersed in kind of a spoken word culture at the same time.
Mm-hmm.
And I'd always had a love for film. I can remember being a little kid and my stepdad loves films, and so I sit and watch all those Alfred Hitchcock movies and all those Billy Wilder movies, and
Cool.
I just fell in love with film. And so I kind of came to a place where I thought, well, I love all these things. I love dance, and I've been a performer, and I'm kind of ready to develop myself further. And so how can I combine all these things that I really love and create really impactful work? So I transitioned into filmmaking. I want to say I kind of took on the project of my first film probably in 2017. And
Okay.
I met an incredible musician and composer. Her name's Jessica Lerner, and she's extremely talented. She heard my poetry and she said, let's write some music to that. So I wrote this poem, really passionate about it. She created the music for it. And then I was ready to move forward. I was like, I'm going to choreograph. And I started piecing together shots and understanding the film industry a little bit more, trying to learn because I was brand new.
That was the first film you made?
Yes. Yes.
And the title was?
Unremedied.
Unremedied. So what was the biggest challenge or the most interesting thing or the most notable anecdote for translating from a dancer to a filmmaker? Because you've talked about it a little bit yesterday on the other panel, but how do you become a filmmaker from that background?
You know, it's interesting. The greatest challenge for me was probably the language. I was so, I guess, fresh and green to the film industry. I had no idea the amount of technical language and understanding that goes into
Yeah,
filmmaking. I just knew that I loved it and I was really passionate about it. And I could tell you what about it I liked in civilian terms, but I couldn't express to you
correct.
as a director and a
Yeah.
you know a technical filmmaker how to create what I liked. And so in creating
So you're
Unremedied, I was oh go
you're
ahead.
talking, for example, you're talking about all the technical slang we use on
Yes.
set. How to sometimes it's easier when you get all that technical vocabulary to
Hmm.
discuss and to talk with DP, with director of photography, to discuss with
Yeah.
all the
To
crew
communicate what
members.
you want. Yeah.
Yeah.
To communicate
So
creative direction, you have to have that vocabulary, or you're just like, I like this over here.
but I think that's good because I know some people, some friend of mine, and even myself when I started doing films, I had no idea what I was doing, but I
Hmm.
had images in my head, and the way I how do you overcome that, and how did you explain to your cast and crew what you wanted to achieve as direction? Did you use pictures, music?
Yes,
What?
I drew
Yeah.
pictures. I did. I used the same cinematographer for both Unremedied and Dignity, which is uh, playing at your festival this weekend. And his name is Ryan Elwell. He's extremely talented. He was so patient with me during this process because in creating my first film, basically all I could do for him was draw a picture of stick figures because I am not a sketch artist at all. And so
Yeah.
I would draw a picture of stick figures and I would say, okay, I see dancers here, here, and here, and this is the type of movement that they're doing. And I want the camera to go from this part until over to this part, and then I want it to cut to here. And he'd be like, okay. And so he would help me understand
That's that's
the
not bad. I
technical
mean,
way.
I
Yeah.
yeah, I want this and this and move like this and then cut here. I mean, that's what everybody needs to know to make the
Mhm.
shot. So that's cool. So did you choreograph the movie yourself?
I did. So I directed it, I wrote it, and I choreographed it.
Okay, let's take a look at it right now. I'm going to press play. It's going to be better. This is a live show. Okay, so this is the trailer of Dignity, the movie you are
Hmm.
selected for at the Hollywood
Yes.
Art and Movie Awards. It's about, it's not about, it tackles some social issues like
Domestic violence.
domestic violence.
Hmm.
Why was this topic important for you?
Well, I think it's really important to tackle uncomfortable topics. They tend to be the topics that are the most, that need to be talked about the most.
True.
And I think that the problem with a lot of issues that we see in our society now, in sexual harassment and domestic violence and racism, and I think our society does such a intense job of just kind of shoving things under the rug and silencing them in hopes that eventually they'll go away. And I think time and time again we learn that that really doesn't provide a solution. And so I think in opening up a dialogue and an awareness of an issue that you either know about or
Yeah.
you didn't know about and now you need to become aware of to understand your impact.
Yeah.
I think I've always been really passionate about telling those difficult stories. And so yeah, Dignity came about. I thought domestic, it's interesting too. I think I was telling you yesterday that well, it's not interesting, it's awful. During the pandemic and during the quarantine, domestic violence cases were aggressively
Goes up.
rising due to this, yeah,
Yeah.
due to the stay-at-home order. And so
Yeah.
we felt an even more, passionate
So this is
need.
interesting to me because this is a discussion I've had with a lot of friends of mine and in different talks also just a little bit, but I think we need to talk about this more. Because of the pandemic and because of everything that happens, I feel that the place of artists has been in one way undermined, like we are considered like non-essentials. But at the same time, what did everybody do going into lockdown? They turned
I
to
know.
Disney Plus, Hulu, Netflix, listening to music, going
Content. Yeah.
online to content. Absolutely. So, what do you think is going to happen in the next month, in the next year, regarding the place of content creators and independent filmmakers? Do you think we're going to have some chances to be seen and heard, or do you think at some point things are going to go even worse and maybe only the blockbusters are going to be in cinemas? Do you
You
have
know,
any opinion on that?
I actually think that there is a lot of space for independent filmmakers and content makers at this time. I think there's so many platforms to share your artwork that didn't exist in the last 10, 15, 20 years.
Sure.
And I think people are so hungry for content right now, especially with, so many people having to stay home throughout the last almost a year, if you can believe how long we've all been in this kind of crazy quarantine limbo with the pandemic. So I actually think it's going to move in a more positive direction, or maybe that's wishful thinking, but
Yeah, it's that's wishful thinking, but it may be an area of opportunity because I feel that independent filmmakers are more, let's say, used to creating films with less money and less
yes.
means. And maybe we are going to be able to adjust better to the new normal and creating content anyway. We know how to do that because we've been doing this
Mhm.
all the time already. So
Absolutely.
do you feel yourself in the dance films, in the artistic side of it, in as a content creator, as a director? Do you feel 2021 and maybe 2022 are going to be a time of opportunities?
I do. I think I have found in my own career that as nice as it is to have funding and availability and great equipment and so much money basically throw around to make cool projects.
Yeah,
I find that my most creative work actually comes from when the budget is this big and I have to solve problems. And some of my most creative
absolutely.
work comes from when I have to work through all of these different to find, something that I wouldn't even have thought about had I had all this money to just, make it happen overnight.
Yeah,
And so I do think I think that the people that are willing to seize that opportunity and they see that people are hungry for content, I definitely think the opportunity is there. I just think you have to grab hold of it. And I think some of the best work actually comes out of artists in this time that we're living in. I'm
yeah.
a firm believer that we're going to see a lot of opportunity and hopefully a lot of really beautiful work in the next year.
I do believe so that artists, when we face constraints, when we face limitations, that's when the sparkle of creation is the
Yes.
strongest, because basically nobody is going to stop me from doing this film, and
Hmm.
we are going to find
I'm going
solutions
to
when
find a
maybe
way to do it. Yeah.
I'm going to find
Yeah.
a way to do it. I love it.
Yeah.
Still, you've been smart enough to, when the pandemic hit, you hold off a little bit on the festival strategy you had for Dignity, because you wanted to see how it was going to go with the film festivals. You told me backstage just before we started the live that you wanted to see how film festival were going to switch to the digital screenings and how it was going
Mhm.
to go. What was your feeling before and making the decision of holding off?
Well, our initial plan was to release Dignity in the spring of 2020. And as everyone knows, when March hit, everything was really uncertain. So we kind of pulled back with our distribution plan and we sat back and thought, well, let's wait. Because at that time, I wasn't really aware of many virtual film festivals in the real world, in the normal world. I know
Yeah,
they exist, but I wasn't aware of very many. And Dignity is also a dance film. And so there are certain festivals like the Hollywood Art Movie Awards who do have categories for music videos and dance films, but not every film festival does. So, we my producing partner, Melanie Span, who is absolutely wonderful and was such a huge part of creating this film, she and I decided, let's hold on to dignity, let's kind of see where the world goes. And it was challenging because things didn't change for months and months and months. And
Sure.
so when we finally decided, we really want to share this, we really want to share it with the world, and we're really proud of this film, we started looking into virtual film festivals. And so I was telling you earlier, the Hollywood Art and Movie Awards does such a great job with their virtual festival, because you guys are so on top of how can we create this immersive experience where we're connecting our filmmakers, because they're not able to mingle in a lobby anymore. So how can
Yeah.
we connect our filmmakers, make this an interactive festival, and still gather that same vibe and feeling from being in a theater now online? And so that's really what we searched for. We searched for film festivals that gave you, a rather immersive experience, that gave filmmakers opportunities to connect with other filmmakers, to promote their film
Yeah.
online. And
Yeah.
that's the path that we've taken in 2021.
Yeah, and we are trying to, with the Hollywood Art and Movie Awards and with the Paris Art and Movie Awards, we are trying, I was explaining to somebody else last week that we are not trying to replicate the in-person experience of a film festival, because it's not the same, but we are trying to find ways to create a platform for filmmakers to express themselves, so they can talk about the movies and so they can talk to each others. Let me ask you maybe a real question here. Did you find a lot of film festivals who were, to your standards, worthy of submitting in this digital moment right now? How many festivals did you submit to?
Well, we haven't submitted to very many yet. I do have to say, we initially we only submitted to about 3, and we kind of held back.
Okay.
We didn't really want to explode into film festivals. We really wanted to do research and see, who was, what each festival was offering, and what support they were giving their filmmakers, and how their virtual screening process looked and felt. And so, we premiered a Dance Camera West last week,
Hmm.
or week before, I
January
believe.
8th.
January 8th.
Yep.
Thank you very much. And we had a really wonderful premiere with them. They also are doing a virtual screening for their film
It's a,
festival.
it's a good event. Yeah.
I have really enjoyed. I mean, I know I'm on this interview, but I've really enjoyed Hollywood Art and Movie Awards. I mean, like you said, we talked a lot yesterday, and I was able to meet so many other filmmakers and to hear them talk about their process and their film, and that's something that you definitely miss when you don't have the in-person event. And it's such an awesome thing that you guys are doing, where you're giving these filmmakers an opportunity to not only speak to the world about their film, but to speak to each other.
Yeah, and I'm gonna drop this here. If you want to watch Alayna movie, it's gonna screen during the Hollywood Art and Movie Awards. It's gonna be between the 21st and the 23rd. You have the link on your screen right now, and it's in the dance panel, of course, and it's also in the Best Director panel. So you had this premiere, and you said something that is interesting to me. Dance films are sort of a niche. There are a lot of them, and they are beautiful. And we created the dance category, I think it was in 2016. I have a double check on that. But dance films are very specific. There are a few big film festivals for dance films. There are a few medium-sized film festivals that have dance categories, and you have all the rest. So how do you pick the film festivals that have a dance category, and what are you looking for with your type of film to take away home and to help you grow your audience for what you do in the dance genre?
So, we obviously submit to specifically dance film festivals, because Dignity is a dance film, and
Yeah.
I think it's important for us to also connect ourselves with other dance filmmakers. It's filmmaking, but it's also a
Good
very
point.
different process. You're not filming stationary characters who are involved in a dialogue. It's a very different dialogue. It's very active, and it's fluid, and it's so movement based, that I think that the process of just filming that is very different. And
Yeah.
so I think it's important for us to be involved in specifically dance film festivals, because those are filmmakers that we would also like to meet and see their work and be inspired by their work. On the other side of that, I think it's really important to involve ourselves in film festivals that have narrative films and feature films and documentaries and horror films, and because I
Because it
think you can
grows
be,
the audience.
yes, and I have found that in not, closing myself off to just being inspired by dance films, I've learned so much more about filmmaking, and it's really altered my process and how I look at something and decide to piece it together. I think there are so many different ways to tell a story, and I think you have to be open to not doing it the same way every single time. So I think we wanted to have a balance. We wanted to be involved in dance film festivals. We wanted to be involved in film festivals that housed films that were also narrative and all those other different styles. And like I said earlier, we wanted to find festivals that were proficient in their virtual screening and were very supportive of their filmmakers that they
Yeah.
accepted.
So for the Hollywood Art and Movie Awards this weekend, you are listed for Best Dance Film. That's an easy one. But you're also listed as Best Director. So how do you feel about making a dance film, which is sort of a niche that we just talked about, but still ending up being considered as a best director for a dance film, which is sort of non-narrative and no dialogue and no classic stuff? How are you happy about that, and how does it
I'm
echo to
honored.
you?
I am. I'm really honored to be considered. I really do feel just so proud to be here, and I feel it's important to note that I know everybody says it, but it's so true. Dignity was really the work of a village, and I had so many people who, on and off screen supported my work and believed in my work, and it's it's with the confidence that I carried into creating Dignity and surrounding myself with really powerful people that I feel like I'm able to be here now. And so I'm very grateful for the opportunity. I'm really humbled by it, and I hope I can continue to learn and I can continue to develop myself as a director and continue to make work
This
that's
is
important.
This is only your second short film, and you are
Yes.
already listed as best director for it. What do you think you're gonna do next, and how would you wish to grow as a director in the actual landscape?
Well, I want to continue to make work that speaks on really important topics. And I would just love to continue to expand my filmmaking knowledge. I'd love to really push my boundaries in the next couple of films that I decide to take on. I have definitely caught the bug as a filmmaker, and I've been the process of filmmaking is such a beautiful thing to me, and I love every single element of it. I love sitting down and writing the poem. I love, meeting with my dear friend Jessica Lerner, and we sit down and she writes this beautiful music. And I love listening to that track and choreographing and seeing how different shots and moves are going to come together and how we're going to tell the story. And so my hope is that I can continue to educate myself and just creatively expand as much as I can to tell more important stories and hopefully impact more people. That's the plan.
I love it. This is a beautiful answer, I gotta say. I love it. I
Thank
love it
you.
very much. I'm going to ask you a question I've never asked on Spotlight. I should have, but I mean, I never did. How do you use Film Freeway? So Film Freeway, every filmmaker knows it, but for those who don't know, Film Freeway is a platform. Filmmakers upload their movies on the platform, and using the platform, as simple as one click, you can submit to any festival you want. So how do you use that tool? Do you use the search engine? Do you look for keywords? Do you look only for dance festivals? Do you look by location? Because you want to go to Tokyo, so you search a dance festival in Tokyo. What's your approach in using Film Freeway?
Well, my answer is kind of all of the above. And I think
Okay.
that's what makes Film Freeway such a great platform, is that I can decide, okay, I only want to go to festivals that are in Los Angeles, California, or I only want to see festivals that are dance related, or I only want to see festivals that are open right now, or I only want to see festivals that have live performances. There's all these different opportunities. And so I think Film Freeway is such a great tool. You can check reviews from other filmmakers too, which I think is important to see how other filmmakers um, experienced and received a film festival and what they
Yeah.
gathered from it, and what they learned from it. But I mean, it sounds like a vague answer, but I would kind of say all of the above. I think that we utilize every single element that Film Freeway has to offer. And I think initially I was really excited about, in my first film, I was really excited
Mhm.
about film festivals in Los Angeles because that's where I lived, and I wanted to go to the festival and
Yeah.
experience the festival in person.
Yeah.
I think we've decided as time has gone on to branch out into other states and other areas and other countries to, expand our reach and become involved in other film communities as well. But I think that's the greatness of Film Freeway, is that you kind of have that opportunity to do that.
Yeah, absolutely. Because everything is going digital right now, I mean, most of it, do you find it like it opens more opportunities for you as a filmmaker? Because basically, right now, if I have a film and I want to submit to a festival in Japan or in Russia, likely I would not have traveled to go there.
Mhm.
But today, if I do submit, I'm going to be able to be part of the festival online and to have a talk and a panel and discuss about it with other filmmakers. Do you feel this is some sort of a chance for us right now?
Well, it's interesting. That's what I believed. I had in screening at Dance Camera West, they actually only
Mhm.
offered the festival to people in California. And so I've noticed that other online film festivals are approaching it very similarly, and that they only allow the virtual
Okay.
screening to happen in their state or in their city. And so which part of that is actually really protective for a filmmaker if you're trying
Mhm.
to enter into multiple festivals and the festival says, hey, you can't have premiered in Salt Lake City already to be in our festival. You can't have premiered in Montreal already to be in our festival. So I think in some ways that's a really smart thing to protect the filmmaker.
Mhm.
I do know that there are other festivals that it's world wide web wide. If you have a computer,
Okay.
you're able to see the festival. So I think that that's different on a festival to festival basis. I I do think it's awesome that with this festival, I can contact my family in Salt Lake City, Utah, and they can experience this with me. Whereas had we had the event here, they wouldn't have been able to. And so I think there's pluses and minuses. I think, there's an exclusivity to a film festival, and some part of you wants to maintain a little bit of that. So you're not just massively throwing out your film to the world. But I also think there's an opportunity in that to capture a new
Totally.
market.
I would say our policy at the Paris Art and Movie Award and the Hollywood Art and Movie Awards, we discussed with distribution companies. And back in September for the PAMA, we had only one block that was geo locked
Hmm.
because the distribution, they had agreements to release the movie in certain territories. So we discussed with them and they said, okay, we want to be part of the festival, but it has to be geo-localized to France. So with the platform we were partnering with at the time, Cinecapsule, we decided to geo-lock that
Hmm.
block. So for us, it's an open discussion. If you tell me, for example, that you wanted your film to be limited to a certain area, it's very easy with the platforms today to do that. You have to know what we do a promotion everywhere across the
Hmm.
board. But when you look at the statistics of who takes part in the festival, it really depends on where you are. For example,
Sure.
we had, I think it was 60% of our viewers at the PAMA back in September were from France. I mean, France, Belgium, Switzerland, and all the French countries around that speaks French. We still had 40% of people coming from the US, Canada, and the UK and Italy mostly.
Mhm.
But this is a very interesting point. And you are talking about something that could be a completely different debate. That's about the copyright and the rights and the
Right.
limitation to distribution. Um, Tell me a little bit about, because you have a dance film, are you a TikTok user?
I'm not, and I've had so many people tell me that I need to get on that platform because it's so dance focused. And I'm a
It
dancer.
is.
I have not. I know it's become a really cool platform for people to promote dance. And I actually was talking to someone a couple of weeks ago. Dance has really exploded in the last
Yeah.
even like 5 to 10 years. Dance has always been popular, but now you're seeing dance on like yogurt commercials, and you're seeing dance on TV all the time when you're looking to buy
Yeah.
clothes for Target. And I think there's such a cool opportunity that's come out for dancers in the last even just 10 years. And I think TikTok is even another representation of that. People love dance. It's beautiful, it's entertaining, it's fun, it gets people excited about almost anything.
Yeah, absolutely. I have one question that has nothing to do with the matter. Can you tell me about the poster that's behind you?
You know what is really funny is I didn't know who that was because this is I'm in my boyfriend's office right now because he has the most light in the morning. And I
Okay.
thought I'm gonna sit right in front of this poster, and he's gonna ask me who that is, and I'm not gonna know. So this morning, my boyfriend Jimmy said, "That's
Oh.
Graham Parsons, and he's from the." I wrote it down. The Flying Burritos Brothers.
Okay, the Flying Burritos Brothers. That's
Yes.
something I'm gonna Google right after the show.
No, this is, as
Excellent.
you can see, he's a musician. As you can
He's a
see by the
musician.
guitars everywhere. But yeah, it's really funny you asked me that because I thought he's gonna ask me, and I'm gonna have no idea who that is. So tell me who that is before I get on this call.
That's a risk you have to take when you do something live.
Yes.
Um, let's try something because we've been discussing you and I. Sorry, we've been discussing you and I a couple of times for now two different festivals. Is there anything you would like to ask me as a festival director? Anything you would like to know of what's happening backstage in the in the film selection or anything?
Well, I think it would be interesting to know, what was your guys' process in transitioning from a an in-person program to a virtual
Mhm.
program. What did you guys consider to be the most important to try to maintain? And, what did you guys kind of say, okay, that's going to have to remain our live
Okay.
festival?
That's interesting. That's interesting because that's a discussion we had almost all 2020. Like we didn't know how it was going to go with the pandemic in the beginning, so we for a long time we hold on to the option. We had a venue in Paris, and we almost booked it and we didn't, and then we almost did again and then we didn't, and then at some point we said, okay, we hope we're going to be able to have a festival that was going to be half digital and half in person in some ways, and then the local regulations in Paris made that clear that it was not going to be possible. So
Yeah,
we thought about what are the filmmakers looking for in our festival, the Paris Art and Movie Awards, and what's made our reputation was the quality of the Q&As, question and answers, the talks we have
absolutely.
with the filmmakers. And that's really our strong suit. And if you read our reviews on Film Freeway, you're going to see about that. That's all transparent. So we said, okay, we have an opportunity here because digital tools like StreamYard we're using right now allow us to recreate a one-on-one direct discussion with the filmmakers or to recreate a panel with a lot of people around us. So we worked on that first.
Hmm.
And actually, when it became clear that the festival was going to be digital, and it was our 10 years celebration, so we
Oh
wanted to
yeah,
do something big. We had big plans.
yeah.
So we said, okay, can we turn the tables around? And we reached out to many different people in the film industry. We had excellent judges in 2020, like usual. But we also had masterclass with James Morrison, who was in 24, the show with Kiefer Sutherland.
Hmm.
And I'm not sure we could have had James Morrison if we had to fly him to
Sure.
Paris,
Yeah.
because when you fly someone to Paris, they have to book minimum of 3 days, if it's not five days, to fly, stay there, get accustomed to the time difference, do the masterclass, do the promotion, and then come back. So it costs a lot of money first, but it's also a
Yeah.
lot of logistics. But
Yeah.
going digital, it became so easy to do that. We had a Zoom call with James, and it lasted, I think, an hour and a half or 1 hour or something. And it was easy and casual. So we are trying going digital, not to replicate the experience of an in-person festival. We are trying to create another immersive experience and still give access to the independent filmmakers to quality content. And we did that. We also have another festival in Yucca Valley, California. We've had two editions, and the first edition was in person, massively successful. It's a local festival in California. And we had the
Hmm.
second one in November. And the town, we do the festival for the town, they allowed us and they directed us to do it 100% digital. And because it was digital, it made some of the things easier. And we had William Baldwin to do a full masterclass with us.
That's
And he
awesome.
discussed about his movie, his first movie, Born on the 4th of July, with Tom Cruise. He discussed about
Hmm.
his favorite movies he's ever been starring in, like Internal Affairs. He discussed about all the TV shows, like Gossip Girl, he was starring in over the years. So it gave us the opportunity to reach to big names in the industry.
Yeah.
And you said it in the beginning. No, you said it backstage, I think. I'm still waiting on the biggest film festivals to do the same. I'm
Hmm.
still waiting on, or even festivals in the middle, like the Paris Art and Movie Awards, to seize the chance that we have right now, because everybody in the industry, they want to do something. They are
Well,
in
yeah, you have to
need of
look at it
promotion.
as absolutely. You have to look at it as okay, rather than sinking into like, oh, this isn't what we want. This isn't the kind of festival that we wanted. So we're kind of going to shrink into waiting for everything to change. I think you're right. It's a moment to seize an opportunity to recreate or not recreate, create something entirely new for your I mean, there is a market for it. Absolutely. There are so many filmmakers who are here with their
Yes.
films and ready to see, what you have to offer them. And so I think you kind of have to just like hop on the horse and say, well, this is, maybe challenging, but an opportunity for us to take hold of, you know, a virtual event
Yeah.
that hasn't been done before. I mean, you could pioneer an entirely new program in this moment.
That's the spirit. I really love that idea. We are in a position right now. We have the option to reinvent or to do something that has never been done before, and I'm
Hmm.
excited by that. Even if it's frustrating not to have in-person events, it's a chance in a way to do something different and to maybe go deeper and further. We are using right now Facebook promotion, Instagram
Hmm.
ads, and TikTok. We have amazing numbers on TikTok with the Paris Art and Movie Awards, and we've never. I'm not sure we would have been going to TikTok if we had been doing
Sure.
in-person event again and again and again. So for us as festival organizers, it's a chance to lay back, stay back, and say, okay, we need to adjust. What are we going to do? Be smart about it. And for the filmmakers, I think you guys need to look for festivals who really are creating content, who really are putting filmmakers first and offering you a chance to screen the movies in good conditions, of course, whatever the digital platform you use or you partner with. And still, it's not only about that. We want to hear from you. We want to hear
Mhm.
the stories behind the movie and how you made them. I have one last question for you, Alayna.
Sure.
Is your next film going to be a dance film or not?
You know, I'm undecided. My initial answer is to say yes because I'm so passionate about dance, and it is my first artistic love, and something that I hold really special. I love choreographing and I love telling stories through movement, but I also don't want to close myself into the box of only being someone who creates films for dance. So I am going to say I'm not sure yet, but I'm excited
Okay.
to let you know.
I would be interested in seeing your next film anyway, but if it's not a dance film, I think I would be even more excited about it in a way. Because of your two first films, I think you showed an ability to tell a story. I'm going to say without dialogue to make it simple, even if you have
Mhm.
spoken words. So I would be very interested in seeing your style transitioning to a more narrative form, and maybe play with new things you're going to be able to discover later. That could be cool. That could be really
Thank
cool.
you. No, my goal is to just continue to grow and to continue to expand creatively as much as I can.
Do you have anything else you would like to add before we wrap up?
I just want to say thank you so much for having me. We're really excited to see Dignity screen at the Hollywood Art and Movie Awards. We're going to be on January 23rd. We're in two categories. We're in the dance film category, and then we're also in the Best Female Director category, which are available, I believe, at 10 a.m. and then somewhere in the afternoon is the Best Female Director. And I just also want to say thank you so much to the Dignity cast and crew. They were really just so important into the creation of this project. And yeah, we can't wait to share it with you.
Perfect. Thank you so much for taking the time for being with us, and best of luck for the competition for the Hollywood Art and Movie Awards. And I hope to see you again with your next film in 2021 or 2022.
Thank you so much.
Thank you. Bye bye. If you want to submit to the Paris Art and Movie Awards, here is the Film Freeway address. We are calling for films right now. We have more than 21 categories. We have dance films. That's pretty obvious right now. We have feature films. We have a lot of categories, and every year we add new categories because we are listening to the filmmakers. And for example, a couple of years ago, people told us, hey, I'm a music composer and I would like to submit music to the Paris Art and Movie Awards. So we created the best score category. And we do this kind of stuff every year. And this spotlight number 6 was with Alayna Jennings. She has a dance film, and the dance film is going to screen at the Hollywood Art and Movie Awards, which is our winter festival. It's the 4th edition. And this winter festival is going to be digital this year on the platform Zerb. You have the address at the bottom of your screen. Her film is going to screen on the 23rd. Thank you so much, Alayna, for being with us today. And I'm going to say to you, see you next week, and see you in a couple hours or maybe later today on TikTok for the first clip from this spotlight show. Thank you so much. Au revoir.